The United States has deployed one of the largest concentrations of military power to the Middle East in years, with aircraft carriers, dozens of warplanes, and thousands of troops now positioned within striking distance of Iran. Iranian forces are on high alert, conducting live-fire naval exercises in the Strait of Hormuz, deploying gunboats to shadow American warships, and warning they have their fingers on the trigger, ready to respond to any attack. As protests continue to rage across Iran and President Trump threatens strikes far worse than last summer's bombing campaign, the region is closer to all-out war than at any point since June 2025. Today, we're breaking down the massive military buildup happening right now, what it means for American troops in the region, and whether Trump is about to launch another attack on Iran. Let's start with what the United States has deployed to the Middle East in just the last 2 weeks, because the scale is staggering. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, the crown jewel of the deployment, arrived in the region on January 26th. The Lincoln is a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier carrying approximately 90 aircraft, including FA-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers for electronic warfare, E-2C Hawkeyes for early warning, and helicopters. The carrier is accompanied by 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles and advanced air defense systems. These destroyers can launch precision strikes deep into Iran, while also defending the carrier group from Iranian missiles and drones. Additional air power. According to satellite imagery analyzed by The Washington Post and open-source tracking, the U.S. has deployed dozens of additional aircraft to bases across the region in the past month. This includes B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, the same aircraft used to strike Iranian nuclear facilities in June 2025, F-35 Lightning II stealth fighters, F-15E Strike Eagles, KC-135 and KC-46 aerial refueling tankers, and MQ-9 Reaper drones for reconnaissance and strikes. Naval forces. In addition to the Lincoln Strike Group, U.S. Central Command has assembled approximately 12 warships in or near the Middle East. This includes guided missile cruisers, destroyers, and amphibious assault ships. Air defense systems. The Pentagon has deployed additional Patriot missile batteries and THAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, systems to protect U.S. bases and regional partners from Iranian ballistic missile attacks. Ground forces. While exact numbers are classified, Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed this week that the U.S. has 30,000 to 40,000 American troops stationed across 8 or 9 facilities in the Middle East. Rubio warned that all are within the reach of an array of thousands of Iranian one-way UAVs, drones, and Iranian ballistic missiles. President Trump himself has repeatedly referred to the deployment as an Armada, language clearly designed to intimidate Tehran. This is the largest concentration of U.S. military power in the region since the early days of the war in Afghanistan, and it's all positioned for one potential mission: striking Iran. Iran is not sitting idle while American forces amass on its doorstep. Tehran has deployed its own military assets and issued increasingly dire warnings about what will happen if the U.S. attacks. Naval deployments. On January 29th, U.S. Central Command confirmed that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, Navy, deployed hundreds of fast, missile-launching and support vessels in close proximity to the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier. Commercially available satellite imagery from January 27th showed the IRGC Navy's fast attack boats swarming near the American carrier. These small, heavily armed boats are designed for asymmetric warfare, using speed and numbers to overwhelm larger vessels. Live-fire naval exercise. Starting February 1st, the IRGC Navy conducted a 2-day live-fire exercise in the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which about 1/3 of the world's oil passes by ship. CENTCOM urged Iran to conduct the exercise safely and professionally and avoid placing international shipping at unnecessary risk. Aggressive interceptions. On February 3rd, 6 IRGC Navy gunboats attempted to stop and seize the U.S. tanker Stena Imperative in the Strait of Hormuz. The tanker ignored their demands and continued toward the Arabian Sea under escort from the USS McFall, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. That same day, a U.S. F-35 fighter jet shot down an Iranian Shahed 139 drone that was approaching the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. This was a direct and dangerous provocation. Iran sent a military drone toward an American carrier, forcing U.S. pilots to destroy it. Seizures of commercial vessels. On February 5th, Iran's IRGC Navy announced it had seized 2 foreign oil tankers near Farsi Island in the Persian Gulf, claiming both were involved in fuel smuggling. Whether that's true or not, the seizures signal Iran's willingness to disrupt commercial shipping if tensions escalate further. Warning from Iran's foreign minister. On January 29th, Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araghchi posted a stark warning on X. Iran's brave armed forces are prepared, with their fingers on the trigger, to immediately and powerfully respond to any aggression against our beloved land, air, and sea. He added, valuable lessons learned during the 12-day conflict with Israel and the U.S. in June have enabled us to respond even more strongly, rapidly, and profoundly. That's not empty rhetoric. Iran learned from the June war that it needs to strike quickly and massively if attacked, because once American stealth bombers are in the air, Iran's air defenses can't stop them. President Trump has been ratcheting up his threats against Iran, publicly warning that another attack is coming if Tehran doesn't agree to his demands. On February 5th, Trump posted on Truth Social, "As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again." Operation Midnight Hammer was the June 2025 U.S. bombing campaign that targeted 3 Iranian nuclear facilities with massive bunker buster bombs dropped by B-2 stealth bombers. Trump claimed at the time that the strikes completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear program. But later Pentagon assessments found the strikes only set Iran back about 2 years, not permanently. And satellite imagery shows Iran has been working to rebuild its nuclear facilities, particularly at the Parchin military complex, where they're encasing a new facility in a concrete sarcophagus to harden it against airstrikes. Trump's threat of an attack far worse raises the stakes considerably. What could be worse than bunker busters on nuclear sites? Possibilities include strikes on Iran's ballistic missile production facilities, attacks on Iranian leadership targets, bombing of the IRGC Navy's bases and fast attack boats, strikes on Iran's oil infrastructure to cripple the regime's primary revenue source. This week, Trump also told reporters Iran's centrifuges will either blow up nicely in a deal or viciously without one. That's a clear threat. Make a deal on Trump's terms or face military destruction. Even as military forces amass on both sides, there's still a diplomatic track happening, though it's unclear if it's genuine negotiation or just posturing before conflict. On February 5th, Trump's envoys, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, held indirect talks in Muscat, Oman, with Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. These were described as discussions about Iran's nuclear program. After the talks, Trump told reporters they were very good and that Iran looks like it wants to make a deal very badly. But there's a huge gap between what the two sides want. Trump's demands: Iran must permanently halt all uranium enrichment, limit or eliminate its ballistic missile program, and all support for proxy groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis in Yemen. Iran's position, willing to discuss nuclear program limits, refuses to discuss ballistic missiles, calling that demand excessive and outrageous, refuses to abandon proxy groups, demands U.S. military forces withdraw from the Middle East as a precondition for serious talks. CNN reported on February 1st that progress toward negotiations appeared to have stumbled because the U.S. won't reduce its military presence and Iran won't engage seriously without that withdrawal. An unspecified Iranian official told Reuters that Iran wants the U.S. to remove military assets from the region before engaging in talks. That's essentially a non-starter for Washington, especially with protests still raging inside Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said this week that any meaningful deal must include the range of their ballistic missiles, the sponsorship of terrorist organizations across the region, the nuclear program, and the treatment of their own people. Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has rejected most of those demands as interference in Iran's internal affairs. So, while both sides talk about diplomacy, they're miles apart on substance, which makes the military buildup all the more ominous. U.S. allies and partners in the region are terrified they'll be caught in the crossfire if war breaks out. Gulf states warning against strikes. According to the New York Times and Washington Post, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Egypt have all urged the United States not to attack Iran. They fear Iran will retaliate by striking their territory with ballistic missiles and drones. This isn't hypothetical. In June 2025, when the U.S. bombed Iranian nuclear sites, Iran launched missiles at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest U.S. military installation in the Middle East, housing about 10,000 American troops. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman specifically told Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian that Riyadh would not allow its airspace to be used for any attack on Iran. That's a significant constraint on U.S. military options. Israel's divided opinion. Israeli officials are sharing intelligence with Washington and coordinating closely, but they've also cautioned that airstrikes alone are unlikely to topple the Iranian regime. Some Israeli analysts believe Trump needs to wait for Iran's internal protests to weaken the regime further before striking. Iraq's dilemma. Iraq hosts thousands of U.S. troops, but also has strong ties to Iran and hosts powerful Iranian-backed militias. Baghdad is under intense pressure from Washington to curb Iranian influence, but doing so risks civil conflict inside Iraq. The Houthi wildcard. Yemen's Houthi rebels, backed by Iran, have indicated they will defend their patron if the U.S. attacks. The Houthis recently released a video showing a ship engulfed in flames with the simple caption, "Soon." They've struck Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Israel, and American ships in the Red Sea over the past few years. One of the biggest factors driving Trump's calculus is the massive protest movement that's been raging across Iran since late December. According to the human rights activists' news agency, HRANA, since protests began on December 28, 2025, at least 5,993 protesters have been killed by security forces. 113 people under age 18 have been killed. 42,485 people have been arrested. Thousands more have been injured. The January 8th to 9th crackdown was particularly brutal. More than 36,500 Iranians were reportedly killed in just those 2 days, making it the deadliest protest massacre in modern history. Trump has seized on these protests, telling Iranian demonstrators help is on its way, and warning Iran's leaders he would hit them very hard if they keep massacring protesters. Some analysts believe Trump sees the protests as an opportunity. If a U.S. military strike is combined with ongoing internal unrest, it could potentially topple the Iranian regime without requiring a ground invasion. But critics warn that a U.S. attack could actually rally Iranians around their government. History shows that external threats often strengthen authoritarian regimes by allowing them to blame foreign enemies for domestic problems. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz recently suggested Iran's leadership is in its final days and weeks. Israeli Chief of Staff IDF Eyal Zamir estimated war could begin within 2 weeks to 2 months. Western intelligence sources told Iran International that a military strike on Iran now represents a virtual certainty.